Alrighty, what's going on, Accelerator members? I want to show you guys our 2026 Poor Man's Research Method. Now, this is the most easiest and most freest version of doing research. It just takes a lot of time and you have to do this a lot to find really good freaking products. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do, step one, we're going to go to Amazon Movers and Shakers. Amazon Movers and Shakers. Now, if you don't know what Amazon Movers and Shakers is, this is literally data that Amazon, the largest e-commerce retailer in the whole freaking globe, it ranks their sales for certain products in certain categories, and they're giving all this data for free, right? And we want to leverage that. Now, if you go inside of Amazon Movers and Shakers, there's going to be a lot of departments, right? A lot of departments like the health and household. Since we want to push you guys into supplements, you can find certain supplements that are being sold here, but we're not necessarily going to be selling these exact supplements, right? Like when you guys go in here, I don't want you to necessarily look for, oh, let me sell these batteries or let me sell D3, right? What I want you guys to start picking up on in your research is, okay, what is the trend and what is the repetition of problems that people are actively buying for right now? Prime example. Okay, I see magnesium for support, stress relief, sleep. Okay, another magnesium, sleep and cognitive support. You might see another magnesium. Oh, here's another D3. What is that for? Muscle and immune support. There was another D3 for muscle and immune support, right? So like, look past the product and more about what problems are people buying products for. Right now, I personally am a very lazy researcher. So what I like to do is I just come into Amazon Movers and Shakers. Okay. And it literally says right here, go to Amazon Movers and Shakers, feed Amazon to Gemini and ask it the following question. So I'm going to go into Gemini. I'm going to drop the link. I'm going to copy this prompt here. Super simple. Boom, boom, boom. Can you analyze the top products and problems being sold in Amazon Movers and Shakers and rank them? So let's do that. All right, and so you can see here that it went into Amazon Movers and Shakers, and I like to do this in Gemini because GPT for some reason or Claude can't really go into the website itself, but you can see that they're ranking the top products, the movers and problem solve, right? So the product category, tech and consolidation, safety, clean beauty and skin relief, micro space organization, pet hygiene and health, hydration and temperature control. So like a lot of people's issues with research is just not knowing where to start, right? People think you have to like know the product off the top of your head. I never know what product I'm going after. I let the market dictate that, right? And so from here, you can read like from the categories, what's the main problem being solved, and then what types of items are being sold within there, right? So, read it, go through it. Now, the next step I would do, moving on to step three, like I said beforehand, you got an idea of the top products and categories and the problems being solved. Now you have a starting point, right? Now ask Gemini the following question. Now, based on this here, what product should I go search if there is demand and traffic over on Google Trends and Meta Ad Library? So let's go ask it that. All right, so I like to ask it this question because we need to find actual people selling this product so we know what products to go after. And then also I like to jump into markets where there are consistent trends for that particular problem year round, right? So once I asked it that question, you can see that it gives us the most highest search volume and categories and products to look after, right? So it says within the health and bio optimization space, right? Here's the types of products: magnesium citrate and ashwagandha. Oh, well, would you look at that here? Earlier we saw magnesium under the health and household, right? Okay, so nothing new that we didn't know before. Mouth tape, right? A massive sleeper hit, right? Sauna blankets, okay. So it's given us products that are being sold within these categories here, right? That we can start searching for, right? And it even gives us the keywords that we can go look for, right? Rosemary oil for hair growth. So still, I'm not done with everything just yet. But you can kind of see, how to kind of go look for these on Google Trends and also the Meta Ad Library, which I'm going to show you guys here in a second. Now, aside from the products that it gives us, I'm still not done because I wanted to dig deeper inside of the problem itself to give us a more refined search. Because, for example, I asked students this last week. If I want a brighter and whiter smile, right? How many solutions could you guys think of? I'm going to pause real quick. Just, pause this video. Think of how many different solutions if I want a brighter and whiter smile, right? Charcoal toothpaste, purple toothpaste, 3D whitening strips, right? So many different solutions for just that problem. And that's what we want to go look for, right? There's not just one product for one problem. we want to look for the main problem, right? For example, the main problems that people are buying products for, within the health and bio optimization space, people are looking for like more of that natural way to recover and things like that, right? So what I do is step 4, right? Now that we know the products that we need to go for, we want to go after the problem. So go ask Gemini. Okay, a little typo here. Okay, so aside from the actual products, I can go research what would be the specific problems I can do a deep dive on. And you can flip this order. You can do step 4 first or step 3, whichever, it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to ask it that. Alrighty, and bang, this is exactly what I want to look for. So what you can see here is that it did a deep dive for problems, not just the products that we should look for, but more so the problem. Because if I were to tell you guys to just go look for magnesium glycotrinate or whatever it's called, or these sauna blankets, right? You guys would be so fixated on just that product, right? And I don't want you guys to be boxed into just that product that AI may give you. I want you guys to get an idea of products and the problem that it's solving. But let's look more deeper into the market, right? So for example, we have the information overload and decision fatigue problem, right? The problem: consumers are reporting dopamine fasting and burnout from having too many options. They want a chief simplifier, right? So Google Trends deep dive search for best product category for beginners, or blah, blah, blah. Look for breakout statuses, right? The renter's paradox: it gives the problem, what to look for in Google Trends, what to look for in Meta Ad Library, right? So, since we're pushing supplements, let's stick with this kind of biohacking, right? So this is the invisible health problem. The problem is general fitness is out. Specific biological metrics like gut health, cortisol levels, glucose spikes are in, which is huge right now. I have a supplement brand. We cater very largely to the cortisol crowd, right? So Google Trends deep dive. Let's do searches for some of these terms right here, right? So if I go into Google Trends, this is where I start to do my research. Again, I'm doing this because I want to make sure there is demand for the problem that we're researching for, right? So let's just type in like cortisol belly. Sometimes these keywords might be too specific. Change the date to the last year. Okay. And what do you see? There is a consistent trend for cortisol belly, which is a problem year round. That's what you want to see. Yeah, there's a couple spikes here and there, but you want to see consistency year round. Okay, let's do another search. How about glucose monitoring, right? Again, we're just doing research over the problem itself, right? So what was it again? Glucose monitoring, right? Again, consistent trends for it year round for glucose monitoring, right? So people are actively searching for solutions for these problems, and that's what I'm trying to paint the picture for you guys when doing research on doing research this way, right? Now that we know kind of like the sector that we want to stay in, for us, we're going to stay in like this biohacking realm. We see that there is a trend for cortisol in particular. What now we're going to do is we're going to go into the Meta Ad Library, right? So Facebook Ad Library. Okay. And we are now going to search up more keywords around that, right? So you'll see from here, we went to step 5, so we did research in Google Trends a little bit there, again, just to get our juices flowing, our blood flowing, and then we're going into the Meta Ad Library. Again, with Google Trends, we're looking for consistent trend for that problem. For Meta Ads, we're going to be looking for people who are selling products for that problem and have at least 30 plus ads and have been running ads for at least 2 weeks successfully, right? So the keywords that Gemini is suggesting that we look up for the Meta Ad Library, search for brands like Levels or Seed Probiotics. Okay, how about I say, for the invisible health problem, what keywords on Meta can I look up to find advertisers? All right, so now it's going to give us ingredient-based keywords that we can look up for, which is perfect because a lot of advertisers who run supplements tend to use these ingredients in their text, right? Symptom and benefit hooks, right? So look for keywords like cortisol balance, adrenal support, relaxation, cognitive support, right? So let's do that. What I can just take the word cortisol balance, okay? Come in here, all ads, search by the keyword, and this is all day, guys. Like I would literally do this as much as possible, all the keywords as possible, because there's just so many freaking products out there. Look, even just for the word cortisol balance, there's over 5,500 results. Now, what I like to do is go to filters, okay? And then I change the date to about 2 weeks back, Why? Because I want to look for advertisers who have been running ads for 2 weeks minimal for their products. I don't want to look for advertisers who just launched a day ago, 2 days ago, 3 days ago. Those are rookies. I'm looking for people who are actually making money. And if you're spending ads for weeks on end, months on end, you're making money, right? So I change the date, apply the filter. Now, what it's going to pop up is all the freaking ads that you can possibly see, right? Now, what I would do is I would literally go into each of these pages here. I know this is called the poor man's method for a reason because it's very manual, but I wouldn't even care about the ad or the product just yet. I would go into, let's say, this guy right here. They've been running ads since December 2nd. I would go into their Facebook page. Hopefully this works. I'm not logged in. Go to their about. Go to page transparency. Okay. See that they are running ads. We knew that, but we're going to go and spy on them further. Go to the ad library. Now, remember, in our poor man's method, it says we want to look for people that have been running ads for that problem that have 30 plus ads. In their ad library, they have 120 plus results. However, we need to change the filter again, right? And make sure we're looking at ads that have been running for 2 weeks minimal. And so out of that 120 ads, about 110 of them have been running for 2 weeks. And you really only need 30 at a minimum, right? So now this is where I would become interested in a product like this. This is where I would now start watching the ad, right? This is where I would now start getting interested in the product. Go to their product page. This is 100% a drop shipping store. I can tell because I use the same theme, right? I would start studying their offer. Buy one, buy two, get one free, right? I would go and see if you can find this on AliExpress or Hyperskew, right?